Hello, and welcome back to the studio. I'm Dr. Wiggo, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite game series of all time, Legend of Heroes Trails series, and the latest that's out in the US, Trails Through Daybreak 2. I've done the Trails series before. I'll link up here the video where I do an overview of the entire series. So this is the 11th game in the series, which apparently is going to be 20 games. The 12th one is already out in Japan and will be out in this country in the fall. We'll talk about that towards the end of the video. This game came out in February, and I'm just getting to it now because if you've been watching the channel, I've been getting a Mac Studio and setting that up and getting rid of my PC and putting in a NAS, and there's been so many things that kept me from doing this. Plus, as you know, I don't like to review games until I finish them, and so I had to finish it. So by the time I finished it, again, I was well into the Mac Studio NAS videos. I'm finally getting to it. This is a phenomenal game. Yes, it's gotten some bad press, but the people that didn't like it, I think didn't like it for the wrong reasons. They said, well, it didn't move the whole story far enough forward. The story has a lot of ways to go, so every now and then you need one that concentrates on characters and building backstory. And this tells us a whole lot of stuff that we never knew about characters from the earlier games. I think it's a winner. We'll talk about that in my review. In the meanwhile, let's unbox the limited edition, which is no longer available. So it has this lovely slipcover.
What's in the box?
We'll never know. There we go. There's a pile of stuff in this box. To start with, we have the game itself for PS5. Didn't you just say you've played it? Yeah, I didn't play this one. I downloaded it online. I didn't want to have to do this before I'd finished playing the game. Well, what else is in here? A book, the Calvard Case Files. Trails Through Daybreak 2, Calvard Case Files. Oh. Oh, it's just kind of an overview, kind of catching you up if you're new. There's the world. There's the different districts of Edith, the capital city. Here are the main characters that we all met in the last game. Here's Van Arkwright's little bio, and Inez, and Elaine, and Ren, and Swin, and Nadia. These are not spoilers. They're introduced at the very beginning of the game. Any gameplay I show you in this video is only going to be the first, 20 minutes of the game. Leon and Celis, Carmine Altara Mare, the Grendel Zoga, and then we've got some illustrations. Just pictures. Not a lot to that, but there's more. This is the Trails Through Daybreak 2 original mini soundtrack. And here's the track list. Crimson Sin, the short version. Style when you stick to it. Monochrome Days, Playing Dirty, Arrogant Desire, What You Left Behind. Solid State Shard Blow, At the End of Beloved Time Limit. At the end of my beloved time limit. A little CD. But wait, there's more. Ah, the Steelcase. If you don't like this case, they give you a nice steel case. Oh, wait, I kind of have to open this now. Because here's the digital soundtrack. Same thing that's on the CD, but you can download it. And a mini art book. Let's see, the steel case has a spot for the mini art book. Slide right in there. And as always, they have the reversible cover. So if you're not a fan of the main cover, you can flip it around and get this cover. I'm not such a fan. It's all right. Oh wait, we have to look at the mini art book. Warning, spoilers. So if you don't want to know, skip to the next chapter. Although this looks a lot like what was in that hardcover book. Basically character descriptions. Leon and Celis. They're not the same illustrations, but they're similar. Okay, so we have a mini art book. That just comes with the game. You don't need to buy this special limited edition. Here are the cards, the art card set. So we have the cover art. That was in the mini art book. That was in the other art book. That was in the mini art book. I think that's in both of them. I don't remember this from the game. And Shizuna. So 7 cards. That's an odd number. Literally. And a prime number, for that matter. That's everything. Oh, it's a map. Cloth map. Well, cloth-ish. I think it's actually paper. But we have a map of the Republic of Calvard, the Erebonian Empire. The site of previous games is up over here. There's Crossbell. 2 of the previous games took place there. 4 took place here. 3 took place here. Principality of Elsheim, that those people show up in this game. Maybe they'll get their own game. We don't know. We've been there in the first game. We were there in Trails Through Daybreak. We went there and there and there. And of course, Edith, the capital. And we went to Longline in the first game. Went to Basel in the first game. Racion in the first game. So we've been all over this country, and we get to another couple of cities that we didn't go to in the first game in this game. Well, it's a nice kind of little map. And like all maps, I'll never fold it up again, right? Wait. Oh my God. And that's what's in the box. Now the game itself is like $70, $60, $70. So this is $99. This is sold out. You can't get this. But one of the reasons I wanted to do this video as soon as possible. Okay, well, this one is sold out. The limited edition of the next game, Trails Beyond the Horizon, is available, although they only have 50% stock left for the PS5, which is where most people play this game. Oh, but the PS4 version is down to 25%. Nintendo Switch, apparently people don't buy this game on Nintendo Switch because it doesn't have a stock alert at all. So that's the limited edition box set for $99. You can't get this anymore, but you can order the box set for the next one, which is coming out in September. Let's talk about the game itself. Trails Through Daybreak 2 is a direct sequel to Trails Through Daybreak. It takes place just a few months later. At the end of the first game, everybody kind of went their separate ways, and of course, the beginning of this game is gathering them all back together into the group, plus adding a few new characters. Again, Nadia and Swin, which were in the art books, and who are in the opening scene in the prologue. So it's not like they're a big surprise. So they show up at the very beginning of the game. In the prologue, you find out there is like time travel stuff going on. There's rewinds. People die, and then you go back and you try again a different way. That's one of the reasons it got some bad reviews, is because a lot of people don't like that, especially Chapter 3, where it's just one after another, after another, after another, and you feel like, I've done all this before, because you have done it all before, but it's all slightly different every time, and you learn things. Hey, let me start at the top. In the prologue, there's something that looks a lot like Van's Grendel from the first game, but red, and it's killing people, and they go after it, and they die, and then there's a time rewind, and all this stuff happens, and then the game proceeds. I won't spoil anything after the prologue. By the way, there's a demo of this game on the PlayStation Store, so you can download it and play the prologue to decide whether you want to buy the game. Now, again, like all Trails games, I do not recommend you dive into this one as your starting point. Maybe Trails Through Daybreak is the starting point for this saga, but of course, as always, you want to start at the beginning. And the first game is getting a remake. Trails in the Sky, which was the very first game in the Legend of Heroes Trail series. There was a little bit before that, but they're not part of this arc. But Trails in the Sky is getting a full remake with the full 3D modeling and everything like in these games. And that's coming out in the near future in Japan, and then we'll shortly follow after that. So we'll be getting the next Trails Beyond the Horizon in the fall. That's already been announced. There's been a trailer, which I will link to below. Maybe play a little bit right here. And you can pre-order the limited edition. I cannot explain why so many people gave this game somewhat negative reviews. I mean, I understand that the bogging down in chapter 3 and all the time rewinds get people upset. It's interesting. And things happen, and amazing things happen. And you know they have to rewind it, because if those things continued, it would like be the end of the series. So they have to rewind it. It's just tons of fun. In Trails Through Daybreak, they introduced action combat in the overworld, and you can flip in between action combat and turn-based combat, like in all the previous games, back and forth. And it's just tons of fun. Well, they have amped that up in this one. You can cast arts when you're doing the field battles on the overworld. You can do all sorts of stuff. They added all these extra things. Sadly, they've added fishing. So fishing's back. It's not quite as horrible as it was in the Trails Through Cold Steel series. It's still fishing, and I don't care for it. They've added hacking, where there's treasure chests that you have to hack, and there's these little mini games. By the way, there's tons of mini games. There's a basketball mini game. There's a new card game. Like, we haven't had enough card games. We had Blade, and then we had, I'm blanking. I'll put it on the screen. There's even a new card game in this game. So there's lots of mini games to play, and the hacking, and you can replay, and it's just tons of fun. Again, the story doesn't really leap forward. It gets stuck in time loops. You repeat a lot of the story, and it's really not pushing things forward so much, but there's a lot of foreshadowing of what's going to happen in the next game. And Trails Beyond the Horizon, the world changes completely. Don't know how yet. They drop all sorts of foreshadowing in this game of the things that are going to happen in that game. And you learn things about the characters in this game that you didn't know before that are going to come in real handy in the next game. So it's kind of a get from game 1 to game 3 of the arc. So it's a middle game, and the middle games are not as satisfying. But it's still tons of fun. You get to play as tons of characters. You've got all the characters from the first game. You've got the Dominions, Celis and Leon. You've got Shizuna, the Silverblade. There's all these characters you can play as. I loved it. I had an amazing time. It took me like 60 hours to finish the game. Now, I do all the side content. I go all around. One of the things about the Trails games is to really get the full flavor, you have to go around and talk to all the NPCs. Now, in the last game, they changed it where on the map, they're yellow, and then after you talk it, they turn to white. Well, they kept that in this game, so you know who you haven't talked to yet, so you can go around and talk to all the NPCs, because they'll come back, and things that they say in those little side conversations that you have running around, well, then later they'll show up in side quests, and you'll know all this stuff about them, or you won't if you didn't go around and talk to everybody. And that makes the game take a whole lot longer, but it's part of the fun. This is also why it's so hard to translate, because every one of these NPCs has tons and tons of dialogue. So there's just dialogue crazy, and they have to translate all that from Japanese into English. I think I said in one of the other videos, it's like the Lord of the Rings worth of text that for one of these games that they have to translate. And so it takes them a long time, which is why I'm amazed that the next game is coming out in the fall. It came out in Japan at the end of last year, and it's going to be out in North America before the end of this year. So they've squeezed it down to like a year. I think it's because Falcom has gotten NISA involved, NIS America, involved in the translating like early on, like before the game even comes out, they were already starting the translations. I'm excited because the hints in this game and some of the spoilers I've heard about that I've tried to ignore, but you can't always ignore the spoilers, make the next game sound like it's going to be mind-blowing. The first game was pretty mind-blowing when you got to the end. I mean, the first part was just kind of a regular old Trails game, and then all of a sudden, like, crazy stuff happens. Well, even crazier stuff happens in this game, but the really crazy stuff is in the next game. So what's my review? My review is, if you like Trails Through Daybreak, you're going to love Trails Through Daybreak 2, although you may get a little annoyed at Chapter 3 because it's incredibly long, because there's multiple routes. Most of the chapters have multiple routes you have to play through. You play through one set of characters, and then you play through the same time frame as another set of characters, and then they meet back up, and then there's an intermission where everybody gets together, and then they split back up, and you go through multiple routes, again, with time leaps and time things. It can be very confusing on the old noggin. And they have a playground, the Marken Garden, which is like a VR thing. And in the Marken Garden, there's a gotcha game where you can zap things and you get rare drops and no more money. It's all free, but you got to collect the shards as you run around, and then you can use them in that game. I had a blast. I loved every minute of it. In fact, I'm on my second playthrough. I played all the way through, and now I'm going back through playing in nightmare mode, now that my characters are all beefy because they're high level, and I'm just having a blast. I love the game. It's a good game. Don't listen to the naysayers. Make up your own mind. Go play the prologue demo, which is on the PlayStation Store, and you can see if you kind of like what's going on, and if you do, well then, try it out. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend the entire series, as I said in this video. I'll also link the other videos down below for my other box sets. Trails Through Reverie, Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4 Remaster. I love all these games. I've loved them since the very beginning. I didn't come in till Trails of Cold Steel 1, but I have since gone back and gone through the Trails in the Sky and the Crossbell series, Trails Through Azure and Trails into Zero. I can't express in words how much I love these games. These games make me so happy. I'm so excited we're getting another one in the fall, in September. So I have that box set on order, so come the fall, I will be unboxing this after I beat the game, of course. It's just mind-bogglingly complex. For a fun time, watch a YouTuber called TwitGamer, T-W-I-T Gamer. He does a playthrough of this, and he speculates, and he does all the games. But he'll be speculating about something, and he'll ask questions. He said, well, why don't they tell me about this? And then he'll click on the next character, and they answer the question he just asked. It's just crazy. Falcom knows what you're thinking when you're playing the game. Says, oh, you want us to explain that? Well, here, just go to the next scene. There you go. Happy now? That's my unboxing of the limited edition box set. I don't know if all this stuff is worth the extra $20. It'll go nice with my collection back here behind me. Again, they are limited editions. They do sell out. This one sold out. This one's still available on the Switch. And the next one is available on all platforms. So if you want to get in and pre-order that, I give it my highest recommendation. It's not as great as the first one. Trails Through Daybreak is a 10 out of 10. This is a 9.5 out of 10. Some people are saying it's a 7. I disagree. Your mileage may vary. Again, go play the demo. See if you have fun with that. If you have fun with that, buy the game. So that's it for this week. Next week, we'll be getting back into other stuff. I'm still working on my switching from Windows to Mac video. That's coming sometime soon, but not next week. Come back for that. So that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Bye-bye. I'm going to go figure out what I'm going to do next week. Thanks for staying to the end. Bye-bye.